Finding hope in uncertain times. I'm not sure I know how. Do you?
Time to stop hiding and hoping the world would straighten up and fly right. It hasn't. To be honest, I thought I had reached an age where I could spend my final years in relative peace and solitude, a time to savor the quiet joys of life, like painting and sewing. I had found such comfort in working with patterns, putting pieces of fabric together, and watching my ideas come to life in vibrant bursts of color. Unfortunately, after one of my strokes, I could no longer sew. My fingers simply wouldn't cooperate. Painting also became a challenge because I lost the ability to see the image I wanted to bring to life on the canvas. Yet in that loss, I discovered a different creative outlet: writing. Now, I won't claim to be a master wordsmith, but I found the process of putting my thoughts on paper or a computer screen to be incredibly freeing. It allowed me to pour out my worries, my hopes, and, yes, even my frustrations about the world as I see it, especially the turmoil that is so often instigated by a pair of influential leaders who seem determined to sow discord across the globe. It makes me sad to see people of all ages, from teenagers to retirees, feeling disheartened, overwhelmed, and often paralyzed by fear of what might come next. The real question, I believe, is this: how do we address that sense of dread or confusion without allowing it to swallow us whole? It's easy to turn on the news these days and feel like the entire world is unraveling. There's too much division, too much conflict, and too many stories of heartbreak. Even well-intentioned reporters and newscasters, some younger than I am, and some around my age, can't help but convey a sense of gloom. It makes it hard to see a bright short-term future for myself, let alone a better long-term future for everyone else. But here's the thing. While it's difficult to see any silver lining when there is so much tension and uncertainty, I believe we have the power to reframe our perspective. Yes, there is a lot happening that we can't control. However, what we can do is manage our own reactions, our own well-being, and the ways in which we choose to engage with the world around us. Seek small moments of beauty and gratitude. Even when things feel especially grim, little acts of gratitude can soothe frayed nerves. For me, it might be the sunrise I watch through my window, or a simple cup of tea that warms my hands. Perhaps for you, it's the laughter of a friend, a favorite old photograph, or a treasured memory. When we consciously tune into these small moments, they can help anchor us in the present and remind us of the simple joys that are still ours to claim. Take action in manageable steps. One reason so many of us feel frozen right now is that our problems seem insurmountable. A single individual might feel powerless to shift massive geopolitical tensions, especially those caused by two men in one government, wielding outsized influence. Yet, we can start by focusing on our local communities. Is there a local charity, neighborhood group, or cause that could use an extra set of hands? Perhaps it's collecting donations for a food bank, or volunteering at a shelter. When we come together to do good, we build stronger bonds and nurture hope. Constant bombardment of negative news can create stress, anxiety, or even despair. We can't fix the world if we're not taking care of ourselves. Make sure you're getting enough rest, nourishing your body with healthy foods, and finding time for mindful activities. Breathing exercises, gentle walks, listening to uplifting music, or, if it resonates with you, prayer or meditation. These practices help us become more resilient, so we're better able to deal with the challenges around us. When I started writing, I discovered how therapeutic it was to simply give voice to the swirling thoughts in my head. Sharing those thoughts with others and engaging in honest conversations can be equally liberating. Find a trusted friend, a small group, or an online community where you can openly discuss what's on your mind. You'll likely discover that you're not alone in feeling unsettled, and that realization can lift some of the weight from your shoulders. While the headlines might be dominated by fear, conflict, and grandstanding leaders with questionable motives, there are also countless stories of people doing extraordinary acts of kindness that rarely make it to the front page. Communities rally to help neighbors in need. Teachers go the extra mile to shape the minds of the future. Ordinary people step up, day in and day out, to care for one another. Recognizing these sparks of goodness helps keep our hearts open and our spirits strong. Although my paintbrushes may be collecting dust these days, and the sewing machine remains silent, I believe my words can still stitch a message of hope and resilience. The world might feel shaky, but we are not powerless. Each of us has the capacity to effect positive change in ourselves, in our circles, and ultimately in the wider world. Let's resist the urge to hide away in fear and instead take small, meaningful steps toward shaping a future that benefits us all. Let's stand together, stay informed, and, above all, keep the flame of hope burning brightly.